Okay, what's your name, please?
Vince Nineli,
And what's your profession?
LAUSD teacher.
What, like, are you a high school teacher?
I am a secondary
Junior high
teacher.
school?
Yeah, high school.
High school teacher. What subject?
Civics, social studies.
Oh, good. Oh, does that include history?
Yes, history, government, economics.
So government and society are important to you.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I was called to the profession, because I really loved history and the lessons that it taught.
Okay, so where are things at in LA Unified School District for teachers? What happened to you?
Well, I'm here at a fundraiser for Health Freedom Defense Fund, which has brought a lawsuit against LAUSD and its COVID-19 vaccine mandate, which was implemented in August of 2021. And basically, the district made this a condition of employment for all employees to either be fully vaccinated or they would be removed from campus. They would not be allowed to work in person. So even though the district did offer religious and medical exemptions to the vaccine, those exemptions were very weak because they only allowed you to work if work was available. And so for our classified employees in LAUSD, secretaries, janitors, food service workers, those individuals classified who did not want to get the COVID-19 vaccine and requested an exemption, were still barred from campus. And so many of them, succumbed to getting it under threat of economic coercion, obviously, or they had to resign, retire, or face termination and discipline. For certificated staff, certificated are staff who hold teaching credentials and the such, administration and teachers, counselors, etc. Those individuals they also could get the exemptions, but they could work in an online academy. They could be accommodated in an online academy teaching students online. They were essentially segregated to an online
Where would you do that
situation.
work from?
Home.
Oh, you could work from home.
They do it from home. And there were hundreds of teachers who did that in the first year. But that was based on enrollment needs. So as enrollment has contracted in the online academies, more and more teachers are technically displaced, which means there's not enough students for those teachers and counselors to do the work. And so they are essentially placed in a displacement pool, but they cannot return to an in-person school. So essentially they now face those same choices. Get vaccinated and you can return to in-person, or resign, retire, or face discipline. Health Freedom Defense Fund has taken the case of these teachers and is seeking to attack LAUSD's mandate at its root, and has made compelling arguments in federal court and is now on appeal in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals for September oral arguments.
But haven't the mandates, restrictions on wearing masks and vaxes expired?
Not in LAUSD. In LAUSD, they have made it a condition of employment. So just like you have to have a credential to be eligible to teach, you have to be vaccinated. Now, there are other districts in Southern California, Santa Monica, Culver City, Pasadena, Burbank, Glendale, that I know of also had mandates. I don't know exactly how they handled exemptions, etc. But as of now, it appears that with the exception of Santa Monica, Burbank, Glendale, Pasadena, Culver City, don't seem to require it, as witness their application process. I check applications regularly, and in the past, those districts did state in the application process as a requirement, you must be fully vaccinated. They no longer are doing that. Many other districts, the vast majority of districts throughout California and Southern California in particular, only followed the state guidance, which was, staff need to be vaccinated or they need to test weekly. And so I actually was able to work in El Monte School District last summer. And they, just allowed me to test on a weekly basis to work in person. So other districts are not implementing this mandate in a way that is highly coercive.
Wait, they're not, or they are?
They are not, in this highly coercive way of saying you need to be vaccinated or you're going to be terminated. You cannot work in person. Only LAUSD is, that I know of, is really implementing. So it's a very strict, harsh mandate that they have implemented. And of course, at the local, state, and even federal level, public health authorities have declared that the pandemic is over, right? And so these emergency measures that were taken or required, many of them by executive orders at the local, state, or federal level, are essentially null and void or being rescinded. You can look in the news every single day. Mandates are dropping both in public and private institutions. Unfortunately, it appears LAUSD is going to dig in, and that's why we need to fully fund the Health Freedom Defense Fund lawsuit on behalf of LAUSD employees, so this mandate can be overturned. And it's not just to benefit LAUSD employees, because this will establish a federal precedent. And this will become part of federal case law and will be a victory for every single American against the imposition of vaccine mandates, that the right to privacy and the right to bodily autonomy will be in federal case law. And so this is a very important lawsuit, and that's why we are appealing it from the district court level to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal, and if necessary, all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States of America.
Right. But the legal costs can't be borne solely by the law firm.
Yes, we are raising money to this end. Health Freedom Defense Fund is a premier organization that educates but also litigates on behalf of individuals or groups who are suffering from, a lack of medical freedom or bodily autonomy. And so Health Freedom Defense Fund has taken on the case of these LAUSD educators, both classified and certificated, and is spending a lot of money in that way. And that's why, we are trying to raise money for the particular case of, Health Freedom Defense Fund representing LAUSD employees, so we can make sure that this lawsuit does not fail simply because of a lack of funds.
Yeah. What does it say about a school district that tries to teach social studies and yet goes against these individual rights guaranteed under the Constitution, and what would support it being foisted against the very instructors supposed to teach it, to impart it?
Very interesting question. California state standards in terms of the social studies, are really good. I invite anybody to look at those, and they do emphasize the lessons of freedom, and particularly in world history and U.S. history, and also obviously in American government. And so, yeah, you're correct that we do teach the importance of the Constitution and limited government and the Bill of Rights and the case law associated with that, and the lessons that our founding fathers tried to impart to all Americans, that, hey, freedom individual freedom requires a limited government.
Yeah.
Our Declaration of Independence proclaims the rights of all men and their right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
And the Constitution is designed to basically put limitations on government so those rights can be fully enjoyed by all Americans. And so, yes, most teachers throughout America, I would assume, are teaching that as part of their standards-based curriculum.
Where do you teach? Or where did you teach in person?
I taught at Santee Education Complex in Los Angeles. Before that, I taught at Jefferson High School.
So families where an elder child had you as their history or social studies teacher, and would want to have you as their teacher again, what option are they being given to study with you online?
I have been, because I have a exemption, I have fortunately been accommodated, largely because I do have a seniority. So, some of the younger teachers with less seniority have been displaced out, but I do have seniority as a teacher, and so that has allowed me to continue in my second year in the online academy in LAUSD, and so I do teach. This year I was teaching 9th grade. Next year I'll be teaching 11th and 12th grade.
What about this ethnic studies curriculum, ethnic studies model curriculum, or critical race theory? Are they introducing this into the California school system, to your knowledge?
Well, I do know that that's a subject of great controversy.
Yeah.
At the state level, so it is one of these things that parents and community members are really concerned about. I would just simply say ethnic studies is now a graduation requirement for all students in the state of California. And if parents are concerned about the nature of that curriculum, they should make sure that they are looking at what their students are learning, and be on top of that, and go to their local school boards and express how they feel about it. We live in a free country. People can. These are policy questions that people can be engaged in, and if there's anything in my classes on American government, it is that representative democracy does not work well unless the citizenry is informed and active.
Yeah.
We need to be active citizens, and that means we need to be informed, we need to vote, obviously, we need to serve on juries when called, but also just simply being engaged in our local communities.
Right.
We have a wonderful decentralized system, which was another way our founding fathers limited government power, was by decentralizing it into a national government with certain responsibilities, state governments with others, and also local governments. And that's an important structure that allows us to be involved and defend our freedoms.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.